Welcome everyone to another episode of the Maha Report, and today's big news is that Frank Lampard has been sacked, and I'm going to tell you why that's great news for Chelsea, and that puts them ahead of Man United and Arsenal in terms of being title contenders in the near future. But let's get to the main story. If anything, it was dubious why he was not sacked straight after the Leicester game. I think they had to clear up the terms with Thomas Tuchel, who's been reported as the replacement. That news will break today. But yeah, I think this is great news for Chelsea fans. I know a lot of them are upset, but after 18 months in charge, nearly 300 million spent, you can't be in ninth position. And we all know what kind of owner Roman Abramovich is. And when he's not going to sit around and wait for success. That's why Chelsea have been the most successful team in the last 15 years. He's sacked 10 managers. He's spent over 110 million on managers just in the last 15, 16 years. So it's no surprise he's lost patience and he sacked Frank Lampard. Now there's a lot of United and Arsenal fans, with the banter and mocking him, Chelsea, but today Chelsea are in a better position than both, and the reason for that is that for me the whole former player experiment is not working in any of the clubs. Lampard, Arteta and Oli long term were not the solutions at their respective clubs. So Chelsea have been quicker, as they have been in the last 15 years, to make a change for their benefit. And the immediate, maybe not this season, definitely from next season, you'll see the difference. And the right manager who will come in, hopefully Tuchel, I think with these connections with Havertz and Werner and some of the other German players, and just the style of football would fit and mesh better. And he also has the experience of managing people like Neymar, etc., who, unlike Frank Lampard, who apparently alienated some of his players, the ones he liked, the ones he chose, he spoke to. The ones he didn't speak to for months. He was very unprofessional. He just didn't communicate properly. There was a lack of tactical knowledge. Players were expected, or he expected them to be the way he was as a player. Then they went out there on the field not knowing what exactly they were supposed to do. And I think the most interesting or calmer aspect of the whole thing is that during his era, we had the likes of him and Drogba and John Terry going up to the board, making complaints about managers and getting them sacked. And now it's happened to him. Apparently senior players like Rudiger, Kovacic, all went up to the board, made their feelings clear about how he's running the operation, the lack of communication, all the details, and clearly it's gone through to the ownership and the board, and Roman Abramovich has made the decision today to get rid of Frank Lampard. And as I said at the start, I think this is a great decision. I've watched it long enough. None of these decisions to hire former great players is working. I know Oli's at the top of the league, but that's a lot of it is to do with individual brilliance and player quality rather than tactics and long-term, astute coaching. This is I don't expect them to be top of the league in the next few weeks. I expect there to be the drop-off because he hasn't got the quality to do that. And the same with Mikel Arteta. They go through these patches where they are on good runs and then bad runs, and Mikel Arteta doesn't have the experience to work with the low budget that Arsenal provide to make them serious contenders long term, especially for the title. And all three of them are lacking in terms of skill and ability, and Chelsea are ahead of the curve. And you got to respect Abramovich for that, because he's a football owner, not a money-making owner. He's not like the Kroenkes and the Glaziers, who's happy to accept second fiddle, make his money and carry on. He wants to win trophies. That's all he cares about. And if the manager's not good enough, he's going to get rid of him. And well done to Chelsea fans who support this decision because you're clued up. I think everybody else who feels this whole betraying a club legend, nobody comes before the club, no ex-player, no ex-manager. The welfare of the club comes first, and to me, this is a great decision. This puts them ahead of United and Arsenal straight away. United aren't winning the title this season or any season under Ollie. Tuchel will come in and get the best out of these players. That Timo Werner and Kai Havertz were world class when they were signed. They don't become bad players overnight. Jorginho was world class before Lampard showed up, and you have to set the system up to get the best out of them. You have to talk to your players, not ignore them for 3 months just because you don't like them. And there's a reason why you bought some of these players. Tammy Abraham is not the solution. He's no difference to Lukaku. In the big moments and the big occasions, he didn't step up, and he was great to get them into fourth last year, but he's not the guy to lead Chelsea's front line. That's why you got Werner in. There's a clear difference in class, and if you can't get the best out of your big signings, then there's something wrong with you, because they're big signings for a reason. They're not, nobody just spends 50 to 100 million on random players. They're players that have been proven quality, and you spend that money to take this team to the next level. And he did not, whatever reason, he did not get the best out of Havertz. He did not get the best out of Werner. Players like Rudiger are top quality centre backs. A few years ago, sadly, under his watch, went downhill. Jorginho has been played in the wrong positions, under the wrong circumstances, tactics. Sorry. So this was coming, and I expect Tuchel, who's worked with some, like I said, with the likes of Neymar and Mbappe, to know how to handle players, to speak to them. It will do a lot better the job than Lampard. And even you'll probably see the results the late, mid to end of this season, and then next season there's going to be some big improvements on this Chelsea team, and you're not going to see the likes of Tammy Abraham and Mason Mount in that lineup as much. You're going to see the Havertz and the Rudigers and the Timo Werners make their presence and show you exactly why their value is as good as it is. And Lampard was ranked last of all of Abramovich's managers in terms of average points per game. He had a bad win percentage. There was no qualities that proved that he was a great or even a good manager. And as I said at the opening statement, for me, Chelsea are now ahead of United and Arsenal in terms of winning the title. They've got in a better, much proven better coach, and I think that the fans that don't understand that they're trying to be loyal to the Chelsea legend, and they're overplaying what he did last season. Last season, with the exception of the City and Liverpool, all the clubs were all over the place. So top four was up for grabs. All you had to do was be consistent, and you would have gotten a position. And let's not forget, they got this with the lowest, one of the lowest points totals in recent history. And that tells you the quality of the rest of the league. So for me, it's a great decision. They made the right choice, Abramovich and the board, and I feel like Chelsea are now ahead of United and Arsenal. And when you really think about it, when you stop fascinating about where United are at the top and how Arsenal's resurgence recently, long term, they have at least equal quality squad, if not better, than the other two teams. And now they've got a much better manager. And even if he's not good, Roman Abramovich will make sure they get one until he makes those players work. And I think if I was a Chelsea fan and I was thinking logically, this is a great day for them. Good morning, and you are closer to the title than some of the other fans, and so ignore the banter. And welcome your new coach today. I think he's going to do a good job, and it'll be good to see as a football fan. I'm looking forward to seeing Werner and Havertz and all these guys come good, because I think it's been a waste, to see them just not at their best, not playing their best football. And you can levy some of that at Chelsea, but at the players, sorry, but a lot of it has to go with the coaching as well. I will say is that I still don't like this whole, the whole thing that Rudiger and Kovacic went up to the board and spoke to them directly. This whole player power issue that still reeks in Chelsea is not a good thing. I don't think that should be the case. Maybe it's why it's brought them success for the last 15 years, more than any other club, but ultimately it doesn't, you wouldn't get that in any other organisation and in life, and it's not a healthy version either. But today it's come good, and I don't say I'm happy for Chelsea fans. I'm happy for neutral football fans like me who want to see a great Chelsea team with the great players they have. That I want to see them do well, and it'll be a good day for them, and hopefully a good season left.